Comedian and author Bill Cosby, who wrote a book on fatherhood, said, "To succeed, your desire for success should be greater than your fear of failure." I'm not exactly sure if this had anything to do with Jane Mason's phenomenal success, but at her financial service software firm, eMASON's founder and CEO has quadrupled revenues in the past 4 years. Ms. Mason previously served for over 15 years as Chief Operating Officer for an international law firm where she redefined client-focused service by applying innovative web-based technology to the company's key processes and operations. eMASON's Clarifier application has revolutionized the way companies do business and quickly have become a leading software solution in the financial service industry. eMASON clients include Fannie Mae, Bank of America, SunTrust. Ms. Mason's innovation, passion, and kindness-based leadership philosophy drives eMASON's success and uniquely sets the company apart as unrivaled in the industry. Under Ms. Mason's leadership, the company has achieved more than 2,700% growth in revenue in 3 years, expanded its client base to Fortune 500 companies, and tripled the number of employees in 2007 to over 100 professionals today. With plans for continued strategic growth, eMASON is also ranked in the INC 500 as the 165th fastest-growing private company and the 16th fastest-growing software company in the nation. She has been to the White House presenting to the National Economic Council, won the nationally renowned Stevie Award for Women in Business last year, won the 2011 Entrepreneur of the Year overall winner with the Gulf Coast Business Review, appearing on the cover of the May 13 through 19 publication, as well as appearing nationally on Fox Business and CNN. Ms. Mason is a proud graduate of the University of South Florida. Please welcome Ms. Jane Mason.
Thank you, Robin. That's not really me. Wow. So we've learned so much this morning about the tactical parts of making sure you're being a smart businesswoman. We have to get our certifications in place. We have to get our money in place. We have to have our vision. My vision was process. When I was running a law firm, the only thing that you have to sell in a law firm is, as you know if you're a CPA, you have to deliver professional services. In other words, you can only sell so much blood, right? So I thought, how can we make more money? There's got to be a better way of doing this than everybody billing every hour and being held hostage to whatever economic times there were. So I thought about process, and I thought, you know, the process of delivering service and the process of having a business is really agnostic. Who cares what your process is, whether it's making cookies in the middle of the night while you're having a martini, or if it's running a large, I didn't know that you did that. I just made that up. Or if it's delivering loans, or if it's running a large retail clothing company, which we all love and we can't wait to hear about. Those are all processes. So I came up with this idea is we really should run our business as a process organization, and we should do it on the web. And we should use technology. I know nothing about technology at this time. I thought, but this is so cool. Why shouldn't we use technology to make our business better? So we did. We built this fancy pants website and told all of our clients, as the law firm, they should come there and figure out what we were doing. They could get status on what we were doing. They also could get status on what we needed them to do for us. So that's workflow. We didn't tell them it was workflow, but it started this snowball. And that snowball ended up with one of those large clients saying, Jane, we really think this is fantastic. We want to buy it. I said, I'm just a manager of this large law firm. I don't have a software company. I don't even know what I just built this thing and I love it, and what are you talking about? So anyway, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I thought, okay, this is really cool. Now I can start my own business. And I did. I stepped back and I looked at what had I done, which was really kind of haphazard. It was just all my thoughts at that time. How can you make your business better? So I took that idea and then I decided, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it right. and I am going to organize businesses, and I'm going to show them how simple it is when you think of it just as a process. It is a process, whether you're going to the store, you're orchestrating your family activities, right? These are all processes. So that was the epiphany. So I decided, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to hire some people, and I developed the application called Clarifier. So what I'd like to do today is share with you not only about me as an entrepreneur, but just 3 short stories, and I'm going to share with you the behavioral aspects or the personal aspects that I think led to my success. And I will share with you the White House story because there's a couple things I really think are compelling about that whole experience. The first thing was, all of us want to be perfect. We want to do things really well, right? You wouldn't be here if you didn't want to do things really well. So I wanted to do this and make it perfect. Then I realized, well, I could be creating this software until I die if I don't get it in the marketplace, right? It's never going to be perfect. So I'm riding along my car, I've got a cell phone, and I've been talking to everybody in the financial services industry because that's where I grew up and that's where I had a reputation of always delivering. I get this phone call, and the man goes, well, this is Bob Caruso. And I'm thinking, oh my God, he's the president of Bank of America Consumer Lending. You don't just get these kind of calls. And I'm driving, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to say? My heart's racing. And he goes, Jane, I heard what you were doing. You are the only innovative person that I know that is brave enough to build software to change an industry. And I'm thinking, what should you say? What should you say? I said, yes, I agree. Right? My heart's racing, my heart's racing. He goes, I really want to see what you're doing. Would you be willing to come and show it to us? I didn't hesitate for a second. I said, yes. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, it's not done, it's not done. And then what am I going to wear? Right? Right? You got to have the right outfit if you're going to go into this type of setting. So it was so great. The message here is that I didn't think I was ever going to be ready, but I took the opportunity and I ran with it. And when I did that presentation of Bank of America, they loved it. And I told them, it's not done, but I need a partner like you that would help me make a difference with this technology. And so they did. They tirelessly worked by my side, automating their processes. How great was that? So my business, there was only 7 of us when we implemented Bank of America, which is a whole other story. But the message there is recognize an opportunity, grab it, and run with it. Because it probably is not going to be as hard as you think it's going to be. So that was one of my first forays into knowing that as a businesswoman, I think I can do this. Because now I've got the credibility. I was smart enough, I already had my accreditations and certifications and everything. But now I had credibility. Nobody could say I was a small businesswoman without the biggest, largest financial institution in the country as my client, right? Didn't quite work that way. They still said, Jane, you're a small woman-owned business. So we keep delivering, we keep making a difference in Bank of America's business processes, reducing their costs. And they started talking about us in the industry, which is a great thing about talking and sharing information. And so I get another phone call. It's so great that I have a cell phone. So I've kept the same cell phone number through all this. And it was the president of Fannie Mae. And I'm thinking, oh no, oh no. And he said, I heard what you're doing. And we heard all about your successes at Bank of America. Would you come and show it to us? And I said, absolutely, same thing. And the things that were happening very quickly. At this point in time, we have 30 people. And so I go, and I'm wearing the cutest new suit, and I've got the shoes. I've got a briefcase that you guys would just die for. I think that I've got everything down. I've got I know my elevator story. I know I've got a big client that I can brag about, and I know my stuff. So I walk into this room, and it's this is before Fannie Mae didn't have any money. And there was a mahogany table that sat 50 people. And I'm going to present to them. They're all men. All men. Of course, the financial services industry, I'm one of the only women in the industry. let alone I'm the only woman that owns a software company. So that's a pretty cool thing. So I sit down at the table, and I'm sitting directly across the man. I call him the president of the world. He's very, very scary. I mean, he's got the big, deep voice. He's president of the world. He could crush me at any minute. All this stuff's going through my head. And then I finally decided, what's the point in being nervous, Jane? It is what it is. He's either going to go with this or he's not going to go with it. And he looks across the table after I've explained how I think I can improve the way Fannie Mae delivers their services by improving their processes, reducing their cost of doing business, and helping them get a better presence on the web. Now I'm lecturing him, and he doesn't really realize it because you're delivering it with a smile, right? As women, we know intuitively that behavior plays a big part in how successful we are. And so he looks at me and he goes, Jane, you're a small woman-owned business. Why would Fannie Mae give you an opportunity to do this? And I'm thinking for a second, and I'm thinking, and I just decided to go from my heart. Well, it's the American dream. I don't know where I come up with this stuff, but you got to have a little drama. And this story is now famous in the industry. And he's looking at me, and I'm looking with every ounce of confidence that I have. I'm looking straight in his eyes, and I said, it's the American dream. Bill Gates started in his garage. All he needed was someone to believe in him and buy the first product. I will not let you down. I have a reputation for delivering, and I'm passionate about what I do. And I will not let you down. He signed the contract right then and there. Fannie Mae has 30,000 users of Clarifier application. We're automating the processes associated with borrowers getting automated workouts in seconds, not in months. We are making big changes in the industry. They use Clarifier internally for 22 different types of processes, including Attorney General inquiries about why the servicers and the banking institutions can't return our phone calls and can't help figure out how to help us, right? So that was a big moment for me. But the message there was passion, delivery with confidence, and then I actually deliver. I've done everything I said I was going to do. Last quarter, Fannie Mae gave us 400% more work than they did the quarter before. What we're doing is really delivering on our promises, and the technology is continuing to grow, and the industry is starting to really pay attention to it. So from a personal perspective, the Bank of America's story was make sure if an opportunity knocks, run. Just do it. Just don't be afraid, do it. It's not ever going to be perfect. The Fannie Mae story is deliver with passion. A little bit of drama, deliver with passion, and make sure you deliver. And my next story is about it's about me. It was one thing to have a vision to create technology that synchronizes activities and transforms businesses, but it's another thing to build technology that not only transforms business, but it transforms people's lives. So if you think about it, you have a borrower, and you have the brokers, and you have the bankers, and you have the government, and you have the investors, all in synchronization in a secure web-based process management application. It's so simple, right? Everybody's in there. Everybody is auditable. All of their activities, we know. If you're a borrower and you're supposed to upload those documents, we know when you didn't do it. We know if you're the bank that you got 72 hours to respond. We know as the government, if you're a bank that's taking federal funds that you're not performing, right? All of a sudden, the technology provides you with knowledge and power. So I'm thinking about this, and then I get the phone call. And I'm thinking, oh no. And the gentleman was from the White House. He said, Jane, we heard what you were doing. And I'm thinking, oh no. Now I definitely don't know what to wear. Right? So I get to go to the White House. I don't know how many of you have been there, but I started to cry when I got inside. I had these tears running down my face, and I'm walking down the floors, and it's all inspiring how beautiful the rooms are. And we're sitting in this room, and I'm looking out over this group of men. They're all way smarter than me. They all have PhDs in economics. Right? They know these are the policy research and development guys that are trying to figure out how to get us out of the financial crisis. I'm thinking I'm way out of my league here. But what they need is what we have. Innovative ideas, new ways of approaching problems, whether it's an economic crisis or a business problem or a life problem. You have to be able to be innovative and step back and say, I can deliver this and I can deliver it differently, and why aren't you guys paying attention? So I didn't start out my presentation with why aren't you guys paying attention, but what I did start out with, technology is really the heart of the solution. It reduces costs and it connects everybody. We see it. All of us are seeing it every day, whether you got a new iPad or you're learning to do Facebook with your kids, or it's technology that is really delivering information to each other. And I also said it's one access point. If you're a borrower and you come into Clarifier, it will actually pull up your loan and give you an optimized workout. Because Fannie Mae worked with me on what are all these workouts, what's available. Nobody understands it. We don't have someone like Carolyn to explain us all the different options that are available to us, right? It's impossible to figure out what's the best workout, right? So my application does that. So you can go in there and say, okay, I think I'm going to lose my job next month. This is how much money I have. Clarifier comes back and says, we think you're eligible for this. And it doesn't stop there. It actually puts that action on the bank's dashboard. The bank now has to respond. If the bank doesn't respond, the Fed's looking at that. What a beautiful thing, right? Work activities, synchronization of work activities, all completely auditable. So I'm standing in front of the economist. I am wearing black, all black, and I have these pearls. These pearls are borrowed from my mom, but I thought the Barber Bush approach is good, you know, right? You just are not messing with anything. You know, you don't want to be inappropriately dressed. So I'm standing in front of all these economists, and I said, I hate to say this, but it's so simple. This is one single point of access. This is a website that is in a secure private cloud environment. You guys, I host Fannie Mae. I can host you guys. Why are you making this harder than it needs to be? You need to leverage technology, help these banks transform their processes, right? And help these borrowers transform their lives. There's dead silence, and I'm thinking, oh no, what am I going to do? So they look at me, and we're talking, and I'm showing them the stuff, and I'm thinking, they don't get it. And then I go away, and then I get this call. And the call is now from FHFA. Now, all of these, I don't know how much of the federal agencies that you know, but FHFA is in charge of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and in charge of making sure that the U.S. Treasury turns our financial crisis around. So that is just so cool. So where am I today? Right now, we're in the process of figuring out what federal agency is going to pay us for our technology. You know they have money, right? They have to have something someplace, right? So I've done very much like what Carolyn said. I've registered at all the agency websites for procurement, and I've got some champions in D.C., and I'm hoping that they're going to figure out how to fund this, because it's a reality. This does work. We have 3 large banking institutions doing it. We're improving their processes, and I'm happy to say SunTrust had the vision to buy our technology and improve their processes. So my message to the White House is you never know if your dream's really going to come true. You just have to try it. It's kind of like that Nike commercial, just do it. And the last thing that I would leave is that life has a lot to do with how you approach your challenges. And you can't succeed unless you fail, and you have to fail and fail and fail until you figure out how you're really going to succeed. What's the right message for you? What's the best angle for your particular business approach? So don't be afraid to fail, because that's a sign of success. I failed every step of the way. I've made every mistake in the book, but I try not to make it again. I've become fearless. I started out scared to death, and then I figured out the more I delivered my message and the more people followed me, that it was okay. I can now deliver with confidence, and I can now actually change the economic crisis into something positive, right? So you never know what's going to happen. So get out there, let the doors of opportunity help you get to the next level, because it is there. And you have to use your friendships and your network and your net weaving, I call it, actually introduce people to each other that will make a difference in how you're approaching your business. And my last thing is, I think I said the last thing, but I have one more thing I wanted to share, is I think we all have to give back. And I started a little late in this entrepreneurial idea that I had because my husband was told that he was going to need a heart transplant. And this was about 17 years ago. And I'm thinking, oh God, this is a process, right? So what we did is we lived in the Emory Hospital in Atlanta for 6 months. Now talk about a process, right? I'm watching how they're doing all this stuff, and I'm thinking, oh God, there's so much paper here, these people couldn't possibly know how to take care of my husband. So I lived in this ICU unit. You know, I had a bed that I went to at night, but during the day I was there, and I had every piece of electronics you could believe. They actually had to have a system engineer come into the room so I could get the fax machine plugged in. So at that time you were doing everything via fax machine. But to make a long story short, the day before my husband was going to die, we found the perfect match donor, and he was able to get his heart. And to this day, he is totally active. He works really hard. He plays tennis, and he gives back. So the last part of my message is giving back. So I've donated Clarifier, the software, to help Emory automate their processes so that they can get better. And so now I kind of have this fun thing. I've got these economists over here in financial services, and I've got these doctors over here, and I'm just saying, you know, you guys, it's just a process. If you would just think of it as a process and let technology bring it all together, it's going to be simpler, and it's going to be easier, and you're going to mitigate your risks. So that's my fun message, which is really give back, and it does make a difference in people's lives, and you can do what you think you can do. And sometimes you have to be careful what you ask for, like me. Like, what am I going to do if all the borrowers want to use Clarifier, right? How great would that be? I've talked to SunTrust about putting Clarifier at the branches. Wouldn't it be great if you really were in trouble financially and you needed some help, and it would actually, the technology would tell you what's the best way out of it right at the branch level? So, yeah, so those are all ideas. So thank you all very much for listening. I am just an entrepreneur, just a person that tried to figure out in a fearless way how to deliver what my vision was for being a good business person. So women do mean business. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jane. And by the way, the next time your phone rings, can I answer it, please?